per se is unacceptable, it's not modifiable, it's unacceptable.
Tens of thousands of people outside in the streets for weeks now in Georgia, and with the government pushing forward this bill, how you estimate the situation in Georgia and how it can culminate?
I don't know. And I think nobody knows, but it's clear that this protest wave is not going to disappear, despite what probably the authorities were hoping for. It's the 37th week, if I'm not mistaken, 37th day, sorry, not week, of this protest, and every day it takes a new form, so it's self-renewable in a way. And it's very clear. Today I've seen that 120 organizations signed a common letter to me asking me to put a veto on the law and not to have any small modifications, which now is a new gimmick about this law, because the law per se is unacceptable, it's not modifiable, it's unacceptable, because it reflects a turn of the Georgian attitudes towards the civil society, towards the media, and towards the recommendations of the European Commission that are not consistent with what is our declared policy of going towards European integration.
You said you will veto the law, but the Georgian Dream has the capacity to override the veto. But yes, will you veto it regardless?
That's true. Yes, but that's true of many of the laws that I vetoed until now, since the declaration I made that I would veto all the legislation that goes directly against the spirit or the letter of EU recommendations, because that's my duty under the Constitution to make everything in my capacity possible to support the European integration and to consolidate it. So I'm exactly in that position. Today we are halfway between the candidate status that we got in December and the possibility at the end of the year of getting the opening of the accession negotiations. At this point in time, and the session of the Parliament ends end of June, the Parliament should be working day and night to satisfy the recommendations that we have on the table on the justice reform, on the corruption agencies, independence and things like that. And instead of that, instead of doing what is expected from us, the Parliament is working on a law that was rejected last year, that all our partners, European partners, have said that it's not consistent with the European values and European objectives. So it's very clear what's happening. The authorities are not doing what the country expects, and the country is reacting because the country wants Europe and wants not to lose the possibility at the end of the year of seeing the opening of these accession negotiations.
You have said that the Georgian Dream Party is playing into the hands of the Russian policy. So what are the intentions of the ruling party?
That you have to ask them. I'm not looking at their intentions, I'm looking at the facts. And the fact today is that, again, what they are supposed to be doing if they want to bring this country into Europe, they are not doing. And what they are doing is going against this aim. So it's enough to look at the facts. The rest, I don't know, and they'll have to answer about it.
In your view, is the Georgian government pro-Russian? Is it trying to bring Georgia back to the Russian orbit?
Again, facts. At least it's not bringing Georgia towards European Union with the pace and rapidity that should be the case if we seriously want to get where we can get, and what our European partners are all said. There is a recommendation of the Commission that should be issued by October probably, and by the end of the year we could open this negotiations accession. So why aren't we doing it?
This moment for the South Caucasus.
Okay.
How do you see Russia's role in this? Do you think Russia is involved in destabilizing the situation in Georgia, and to what extent?
Well, that's again the same question, whether by doing what they're doing, the authorities here are taking the initiative or are reacting to pressure from Moscow. It's very difficult to know what's happening behind the closed doors and what is a part of their initiative and what is a part of Moscow. It's clear that Moscow is not seeing with lots of appreciation this accelerated path of Georgia towards the European Union, but whether they are directly affecting the decisions of the authorities and meddling in detail or not, I don't know. But it doesn't really matter. The interest of this country is to go as fast as possible toward the European Union, and that's what the whole of the country knows, because they all know, and that's why we have 85% in favor of the European Union, including the supporters of Georgian Dream, and that's why they're trying to say, well, we'll do that also. But because everybody knows that the independence of Georgia, its future as a state, is linked to its European future.
We have seen the statements condemning this law. We have seen the high-ranking visits to Tbilisi. Is West doing enough, and what else has to be done?
I think that we cannot expect all the time that somebody else is going to do for us what we have to do. We have clearly public opinion that is very active, very reactive, and the younger part of this public has shown where it stands, and in a very forceful way. Now we have another occasion to say what is the will of the people, and that is the elections next October. So that's what we have to concentrate upon. I intend to try to consolidate the union of all forces around this European aim. The elections itself is none of my business, that's for political parties, but the consolidation of the forces around a European action plan, let's call it that, is something that I'm working on, because I think that it's on the 26th of October that the Georgian people have to say, to confirm and to repeat, yes, we want Europe.
But how realistic is that Georgia will have a free and fair elections if this law will be enforced?
Well, you can always ask that in advance of elections in a country that has authoritarian trends, to say the least. So nothing is guaranteed, there are risks, but I am also, and our experience shows that each time there is a real mobilization, and when the issue is clear, then it's very difficult to meddle with that. So our duty, and that's where I think that I have a responsibility, is to make clear what these elections are going to be about. They're not going to be about choosing this or that party that one likes more than the other. These elections are about, again, saying that we want Europe, and that's what our partners have to hear from the Georgian society.
We see what's unfolding in Georgia. We see Armenia knocking on EU doors, the increased influence of Turkey in Azerbaijan. So how important is this moment for the South Caucasus?
It's extremely important. It's extremely important because, again, it's very clear that the South Caucasus has moved away from the Russian influence. Azerbaijan has moved closer to Turkey, although it has maybe a different approach in its relations, but Armenia is moving and has been approaching with the European Union, and I always say that Europeans should also pay more attention to Armenia, but clearly their way goes our way, so much will depend on how Georgia consolidates its European position, and all of that is very essential for the Black Sea. We see that the focus of the Ukraine war is now more on Crimea and on the Black Sea than it is on the eastern parts, and that is the real game is happening around the Black Sea, who is going to control it, and that, of course, for us and for Europe is very essential. So I'm exactly in that position. Today we are halfway between the candidate status that we know.